Hi kids, I am here with you another beautiful Bible story from our children's Bible. Our last story was about Moses and Joshua, where Moses was dying and God chose Joshua to be the new leader of the Israelites, to lead them into the land of Canaan. So tonight's story is going to continue off from there, and it's entitled A Narrow Escape. And as always, we'll start off with a Bible reading, and of course it'll be Joshua chapter 2 verse 14, which says, And it shall be when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will dwell kindly and truly with thee. So they're talking about the land of Canaan. So now let's get into the story. 40 years had passed since Joshua and Caleb and the other 10 scouts had their trip through the land of Canaan. As the new leader of the Israelites, Joshua knew that things had probably changed in Canaan since he had been there. Different people had come there to live. Cities had been built where there had been none before. The Israelites themselves had now won some battles, and the news had spread. Joshua wondered just what the Canaanites had heard about them. Across the Jordan River from the place where the Israelites were camped stood the city of Jericho, surrounded by really high walls. Before they could take the rest of the country, they had to capture the city which stood in the way, which was Jericho. Joshua sent 2 men across the river secretly to find out something about Jericho. The 2 spies slipped in through the gates in the great wall of the city among the crowds that went in and out. They found a house inside where they stopped to eat and rest. But they had not been as smart as they thought they had. Someone had spotted them as strangers and reported them to the king. Immediately the king sent messengers to the woman who owned the house where they were staying. Her name was Rahab. When she saw the officers coming, she rushed the Israelites up onto the roof of her house. There she had stalks of flax spread out to dry so that she could make them into cloth one day. The man lay down on the flat roof and she covered them with the flax. Then she went down to meet the officers. Rahab, the officers called out, the king demands that you turn over to him the 2 strangers that came into your house. They are known to be spies from Israel. Oh, it is true some men were here earlier today, Rahab answered, but I did not know that they were spies. They left about dark, so if you intend to catch them, you will have to hurry. They have already had time to get a head start. Hurriedly, the men rode off through the city gates, heading toward the river where they had seen the Israelites camped. But naturally, they never found any trace of the men. When she knew the messengers had gone, Rahab climbed back onto the roof and told the spies that it was safe to come down. Tell us why you hid us and saved our lives, they asked her. I know that your God has promised to give you this land. Everyone in Jericho knows it, and they are afraid. We all heard of the way your God held back the waters of the Red Sea while you crossed over, and we heard of the battle you won after the Amorites. We know that we will help you take your city, for the God you worship is truly God in heaven above and on earth beneath. Please, she begged, when you return to take this city, save me and my family. Promise me you will do this. Our lives for yours, they promised. If you will not tell anyone about our being here, we will remember you when we come back to the city. Now Rahab's house was built right into the wall of the city, and it had a window facing outside the wall. Through this window she dropped a strong cord, a brilliant red piece of rope. Before the men slid down the rope to safety, they reminded Rahab, "Gather all your family into your house before we return. That way they will be saved with you." "How will you remember which house it is?" she asked. "Keep this red rope hanging from the window, and we will find you," they answered. Then she lowered them on the rope and left it tied tightly to the window. "Go to the hills and hide for 3 days until the king stops looking for you," she called softly to them through the darkness of the night. After 3 days, the king's officers returned to Jericho to report that they had not been able to capture the spies. It was safe then for the men to come down from the hills and return to their camp across the river. Excited by their adventure, they hurried to Joshua and gave him this message: "The people of Jericho are afraid of us and will not fight against us. It is time to attack." And that was the story of the narrow escape. So the next story you'll be getting into is when they actually get into the city of Jericho and take over the city of Jericho, and they get into the land of Canaan, the promised land that God had promised the Israelites all along. Once he freed them from Egypt, they are finally going to get there. Let me see. I might read this story tonight too. Let me see. I'll see how long it is. I can't add it on with this video because it'll make the video too long. Because I know you guys don't like long videos. It's about 2 pages, 3 pages. We might go ahead and do 2 stories tonight. But I hope you guys enjoyed the first story. I hope you guys learned something about the Bible. Let's bring those souls to Jesus, little ones, and God willing, I'll see you guys here soon with another Bible story. Bye, kids.